love my spirit guide. She is the bomb diggity. But occasionally we disagree on things. Doesn't happen very often. Most of the time I'm wrong. Honest, if we're being honest, I get human. I get stubborn. I get pig-headed. I have those blinders on where I'm not seeing the whole picture. I had a wonderful idea for phenomenal. Hey, that's my new word, phenomenal arts and crafts. And I had been using the plastic canvas. They don't even have it everywhere anymore, but when I was a kid we used to use them for yarn crafts all the time. A lot of times now the rug makers, the latch hookers will use it for different projects. But I had been using that to make ornaments for the PTA bazaar that I donated, and another set for my fiber friend who's my Secret Santa. And I was like, wouldn't it be cool if we did like some wall art with like sigils and symbols? I was like, we could even go back and look at like historical seals and, you know, give the history behind it and learn while we craft and like be creative. And God bless my dear hearted spirit guide. She told me that was the dumbest idea she'd ever heard in her life. And I'm like, no, this is an inexpensive idea. You know, it's very skillfully easy to learn. And she's like, this is the worst idea you've never thought through. And I'm like, no, you're wrong. You're not listening to me. This is a really cool idea. This may be my $1 million idea. And she's like, do you realize that if you do like seals and sigils, there are going to be stupid people who accidentally summon, I don't know, demons, make portals? And I'm like, no. The likelihood of that happening is so astronomically low. Everybody knows that the seals and sigils that you see in old school books and online are always missing something. Everybody knows that. Hello, magic is secretive. That's the whole thing. And she took this big hefty sigh and was like, you just don't know. And I'm like, well, what? I can't be blamed for people accidentally summoning demons and making portals by hanging wall art. I don't know what ley lines they live on. I'll make a disclaimer. And she's like, find another idea. And I'm like, I'll think about it. But we also disagree on other things. You know, I'll talk to her about, you know, the pressure and the stress that I'm feeling as a mother, as people are watching and judging things that you're doing, because they do. I'm so not that person, but I understand that there are a lot of those people in the world, and that they cause the rest of us anxiety sometimes when we choose to care. Although it's a very small, brief moment in time, it does in fact cause us some anxiety. And she's like, is that really what you're worried about? Is that really what you want to talk about? Or are you going to be honest with yourself? And I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She's like, you have every idea what I'm talking about. And I'm like, shut up. I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, so you're just going to ignore the elephant in the room? And I'm like, yes, I am. I'm concerned about A, B, C, and D. I don't have time or the energy or resources to be concerned about anything else. And she's like, well, you know, I appreciate that you've prioritized these things and that you've thought about it to the point that you acknowledge that these things are important or non-important and that you need to let them go and release them. But I really think that you need to deal with this other stuff too. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. So, yeah, there are those times where we disagree about things, and it's not always a good thing. There are some times where I don't want to admit that certain things are bothering me, and I don't want to admit that it sucks that the things that you wait for haven't come to be. I'm not a patient spiritual person, as everybody knows. And so I feel a lot of frustration when I'm working towards something and I'm not seeing anything accomplished. And so I've kind of been stuck in that moment recently, and I think that's what she's kind of pointing towards, like, hey, do you want to talk about the fact that you're stressed and that, you know, you really do want to see something happen, but you're not, and so I'm getting frustrated and not continuing to work spiritually towards a goal because I'm not seeing anything happen. And it is a good reminder to have someone kind of check you and be like, you're just going to ignore the fact that this is bothering you as well. Yeah, I am. But the fact that I acknowledge these things are going on, I just have other things to deal with first. And it's all about prioritization, especially when we talk about stress and anxiety around the holidays. And so it does kind of have to do with the theme of a week. So sometimes we can be the toxic people in our own lives when we're not willing to face things, whether it's shadow work or just dealing with stressors that we can probably fix and deal with if we choose to take the time to work on these things. And I'm